Pam Golding Properties is recognized locally and internationally as Southern Africa's leading independent real estate group. Today, we speak to Dr. Andrew Golding, Chief Executive of Pam Golding Properties. Hi, Andrew.
Thank you for having me.
Firstly, let's start with congratulations. Pam Golding Properties recently won an international award. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, we were absolutely thrilled to win the international award as the best real estate agency in South Africa and in Africa at the recent International Property Awards in Dubai. And now we go forward in an intercontinental competition as the winners in Africa to go up against our counterparts from other continents, the winners from other continents, on the 5th of December in London.
That's no mean feat. That's nothing to shy away from. It's not the first award that Pam Golding has won. It is something you're quite used to.
Well, we've won a few awards over the years, and we're very proud of this one in particular. It's obviously been a tough time in property, and we were thrilled to have been awarded this one.
You see it all. Are there certain trends in property right now?
Yeah, I think we're seeing the market improve quite significantly. I think we're seeing a shortage of stock in many of the metropolitan areas in the country. So most of the cities have suddenly gone from being an oversupply of stock to an undersupply of stock, and that's usually an indication of the market beginning to turn. And hopefully this is the start of prices, which have been pretty flat over the last 5 or 6 years, starting to in fact increase, and real house price growth beginning to happen.
Are South Africans buying abroad? Are foreigners buying in South Africa? Is there some indication as to what's happening there?
Yeah, I think there are two interesting trends there. The one is that we've certainly seen the return of the foreigner into our market, albeit at very low numbers. So they were always low numbers, but they disappeared just post 2007. And since the last 12 months or so, we've started to see foreigners come back. And in fact, we did some analysis the other day, and we've sold this year to foreigners from 45 different countries. But the numbers are still very low. Probably in terms of the overall market, less than 1% of all the properties sold in South Africa go to foreigners. So it's a tiny number. In our own business, it's slightly higher than that, but still pretty small. On the other side, certainly South Africans are looking at diversifying their property portfolios outside of South Africa. And London has always been a favoured destination. Spain has now opened up, and so has Portugal, in terms of offering South Africans alternatives, particularly in terms of residency. And the Indian Ocean Islands of Mauritius and the Seychelles have certainly been one that's been very successful for us over the past 10 years or so.
You have said that sales of houses of over 10 million rand and more have increased by 60% in the last year. Tell us a little bit more about that and what that means to you.
Yeah, so I think the various segments of the market have certainly improved compared to the previous years. Overall, our sales are 20% up year on year. And in terms of breaking those down into a couple of segments, we were quite surprised to see the extent to which the market between 4 and 10 million had increased. Obviously, that's the market that we predominantly operate in, and the numbers are significantly up.
Do you think that that's an indication that that sort of price bracket of people buying homes have sort of somehow escaped the economic recession?
No, I think it's more a function of the whole market improving and the fact that we've had 6 or 7 years of absolutely flat growth. And I think there's quite a lot of pent-up demand. People, I think, are recovering from the 2007 crash, and generally there's more buyer demand and appetite.
So do you see opportunities, property opportunities in South Africa and Africa as a continent?
Yeah, absolutely, no question. We think there's still enormous growth within the South African property market. We think we're entering, hopefully a new positive cycle as far as South Africa is concerned. And as far as Africa is concerned, well, I think it's a continent that has enormous potential, and one that we are extremely optimistic about. We think that there are a number of markets where there are opportunities in the property space, basically from north to south.
Let's look at something closer to home. In Johannesburg, is e-tolling a deciding factor for those wanting to buy in Johannesburg now?
Yeah, I don't know that it's a deciding factor, but I think the transport issue and the commuting issue has been one that has been around for a long time and is certainly influencing buyer behavior. So the notion of work, live, play as close to each other as possible is a phenomenon that's been a global phenomenon for a long time, and we're no different to that. So I think that where clients can find work, live and play within a close environment, that's obviously preferable.
What tops your personal wish list as a primary residence and a holiday residence?
Well, I suppose from a primary residence, Cape Town's got to be it for me. Extremely happy here, and I think it's a wonderful city to live in. I think South Africa has a number of other primary cities that I could live in, but Cape Town's probably my preference. And then in terms of leisure destinations, I think anywhere along the west coast or east coast has a number of spots. So whether it's Hermanus or whether it's Knysna or Plettenberg Bay or even further up St. Francis or Kenton or Port Alfred, or even the west coast, so in terms of Langebaan and those sorts of areas, I think they all have unique features, and I'd be happy to have a holiday home anywhere there.
On a personal level, what does the doctor stand for?
So I'm a medical doctor by profession. I practiced as a general practitioner for a number of years before joining the family business about 18 years ago now. And so once upon a time I was a GP, and now I run a property company. What
do you view as the key to success?
You mean from an organizational point of view?
From an organizational point of view.
Yeah, so I think very clear and defined core values, and then surrounding oneself or the organization with like-minded people. So I think a very definitive and clear set of core values.
To round it all off, do we have reason to be optimistic about the economy and the markets, the property market in South Africa?
Yeah, I certainly think so. I think that we've weathered the storm pretty well, all things considered. It's been a tough couple of years, but I think that the future looks bright for the property market, and I think that it's not going to rocket up in the way that it did pre-2007, but I think there are going to be good years ahead in terms of house price growth and a positive property market.
That's fantastic to hear. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.